Good morning. Hope everyone's having a beautiful and blessed morning. Oh, it's been a long week. What? Dad's over there talking to me for some reason. So we are in chapter 2 of the 4 pillars of leadership, and I covered over the first section of chapter 2 last Sunday, and now I'm going to cover the last section of chapter 2 today. And so we go into John Maxwell's book here, and it says, things everybody needs to understand about people. So, knowing what people need and want is the key to understanding them, and if you can understand them, you can influence them and impact their lives in a positive way. So, some of the things he knows about understanding people can be summed up in the following list of things that we'll be mentioning here. He says, 1, everybody wants to be somebody, right? Everybody has a desire to be something, someone, somehow, somewhere, right? But everybody wants to be someone. There isn't a person in the world that doesn't have a desire to be someone and to have some significance. Even the least ambitious and most unassuming people want to be regarded highly by others. So, John Maxwell ends up telling a story about when he was in 4th grade and he went to play his first basketball game. He stood with his buddies in the balcony of the gym, and the thing that he remembers the most wasn't the game, it was just the announcement of the starting lineups. And they turned on all the lights, spotlights came on, the announcer called out the names, and they ran out in the middle of the floor one by one. In this story, he regards being a younger boy, and he talks about how, wow, I would like that to be me. I want to be in the spotlight, basically. He talks about how whenever every person gets announced their name, they run out in the middle of the spotlight, and the people go and they cheer them on, right? When the spotlight comes on, the lights turn off, and they're announcing the basketball players' names. He talks about how when he goes home that night, he tells his dad, I want to play basketball, right? That's why I want to do that now. I want to be that person. I want to be in the spotlight. And eventually after that, he starts playing. They win a few games. He goes and plays in a gym called Old Mill Street Gym in Circleville, Ohio, where he goes and plays where he first saw his first game when he was in 4th grade. When they get there, instead of going onto the floor, he sits on the benches and he sits down and he imagines in his head his name being announced, and he felt so good to hear the imaginary applause, and he thought, I'll do that again. And he did that several times, in fact, until he realized all of his buddies are just staring at him while they're all playing basketball, and they're all like, what's he doing sitting on the bench, basically? But in his head, he was one step closer to being the person that he dreamed of being when he was playing ball, the person that would get announced to play. Everybody wants to be regarded and valued by others. In other words, everybody wants to be somebody. Once that piece of information becomes a part of your everyday thinking, you'll gain incredible insight into why people do things the way they do. And if you treat every person as if he or she were the most important person in the world, you'll communicate that he or she is somebody to you as well. So, everybody wants to be someone, but if you can also show and communicate and value people, you also show them that they are also somebody to you. So it's not just about being someone or becoming somebody someday. It's also about making sure there are others as well, that you make them feel important, that they are someone to you. Number 2, nobody cares how much you know until he knows how much you care. So I'll say that again. Nobody cares how much you know until he knows how much you care. The moment that people know that you care about them, the way they feel about you changes. Showing others that you care isn't always easy, right? But your greatest times and the fondest memories will come from people that you share, your most difficult, your most hurting, most tragic times, but also your most memorable and most exciting and best times of your life. People are going to be your greatest assets, but you're also their greatest liability, he says. The challenge is to keep caring about them no matter what. He has this quote, he calls it the paradoxical commandments of leadership that he found, and it goes like this. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered, but love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives, but do good anyway. If you're successful, you'll win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do will perhaps be forgotten tomorrow, but do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest man with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest man with the smallest mind. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only hot dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. What you spend years, or people really need help. People really need help, but may attack you if you help them. Help them anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you will get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best that you have anyway. If better is possible, then good is not enough. And I love how he says that's the right way you need to treat people. Besides, you never know which people in your sphere of influence are going to rise up and make a difference in your life and the lives of others. So, what should you do? Just be good anyway, right? Do these things, work hard, do it anyways. It does not matter where everyone else is at or if they're not treating you properly. And all these ways that he says, just do it anyway, right? Because you're not going to succeed unless you just do it. And you're not going to actually be able to love people unless you tell yourself to just do it, right? Sometimes you have to take your will and control and be like, hey, they may not be caring about you, and these people may not want to be around you, and they hurt you, and they slander you, whatever it might be. People tear you down, but continue to fight and continue to love them and continue to be good, because through all that, right, God will grace you, right? He will reward you. He will fulfill certain portions of life that you may think you don't have accomplished yet, or you feel like you haven't accomplished, but when you just keep trying and you keep treating people with love and you love them with the love of Jesus, right? And you treat others with respect and you just succeed and you keep trying to succeed and you keep trying to fight and you just build, like he talks about, when you spend years building something and it can get destroyed overnight, just continue to build it, right? There are times that some people work so hard for their whole life for one thing, and they get to that point and then get teared down, right? There are people that they go throughout their entire high school / college career trying to just become an artist for a certain school or go to a certain artistic school or whatever it might be, and then the school says, well, your art's not what we are looking for, even though they're extremely creative and they're very good at the art they have and they're very good at what they do, and there are people that will even buy the art that they create, right? But then the school thinks, well, our standards, sadly, you're not meeting them, right? So it doesn't matter what others say, just keep going. Number 3, everybody needs somebody. Contrary to popular belief, there is no such thing as a self-made man and woman. Everybody needs friendship, encouragement, and help. What people can accomplish by themselves is almost nothing compared to their potential when working with others. And doing things with other people, tends to bring contentment. Besides, Lone Rangers are rarely happy. King Solomon stated the value of working together this way. He says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. How can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So everybody needs someone to come alongside and help. And if you understand that and are willing to give others and help them and maintain the right motives, their lives and yours can change. Number 4, everyone can be somebody when somebody understands and believes him or her. Once you understand people and believe in them, they really can become someone. It doesn't take much effort to help them feel important. Little things done deliberately at the right time can make a big difference. I can't tell you how many times when there are little things I did when I used to work at other jobs and did other things, that when I did these small, just little extra few things, right, just cleaned up something or whatever it might be, just kind of figured out some smaller things or figured out how to work in a faster way in different areas and the jobs that I did, how much of a difference it made to everybody around me. Like when I discovered how to quickly put more stuff on a website for one job I did have, they started to get more cars and they actually started to have me do more when I was working there. And it made a bigger difference because then I was able to produce more pictures and produce more stuff, and the mechanics could work on the cars quicker if they needed to work on it, because the way the flow of the line that would go was, once the car arrives, if it really has serious issues, it would go immediately get fixed. But if it didn't, it was always me first, me getting the car done first, me getting the information, putting it online, and then the mechanics would work on it. So I was the front line for a lot of things. So when I figured out how to fix the little things and I made those things more important, it made a big difference because then everybody was able to flow faster. Sean says, when was the last time you went out of your way to make people feel special as if they were someone? The investment required on your part is totally overshadowed by the impact it makes on them. Everybody you know and all the people you meet have the potential to be someone important in the lives of others. All they need is encouragement and motivation from you to help them reach their potential. And number 5, anybody who helps somebody influences a lot of buddies. The final thing you need to understand about people is that when you help one person, you're really impacting a lot of other people. You don't realize sometimes just a brief act of kindness to one person could really go a long way to helping God knows how many people, you know? There are times that your love for somebody and the respect you have for someone ends up being a person that's in charge of a group of like 20, 30 people, right? And they're trying to make a difference in all their lives and tell them about Jesus or help them to further their life or to get things back on track, whatever it might be. Changing and helping one person will impact many. What you give to one person overflows into the lives of all people that person may impact. The nature of influence is to multiply. It even impacts you because when you help others and your motives are good, you always receive more than you can ever give. Most people are genuinely grateful when another person makes them feel special, that they never tire of showing their gratitude. So we need to choose to understand others. And in the end, the ability to understand people is a choice. It is a choice, whether you choose or whether you don't choose to actually be there for someone or to make better relationships with those people or to show them love or compassion or to show them how much Jesus loves them or to show them how to build their business more properly, whatever it might be. If you are in a position of leadership, it is in your ability to choose whether or not you are going to understand someone. It's true that some people are born with great instincts and enable them to understand how others think and feel. But even if you aren't instinctively a people person, you can always improve your ability to work with others. Every person is capable of having the ability to understand, motivate, and ultimately influence others. So in the end, it's up to you whether you decide how you're going to encourage, how you're going to love, how you're going to be someone of responsibility, how you're going to show them how to be better or how to be someone, but it's also up to you to choose to be someone as well, right? Like that quote that we mentioned that I showed you, how it talks about succeed anyway, do good anyway, be honest and frank anyway, think big anyway, build anyway, help them anyway, right? Give the world the best that you have anyway. This quote is a very good way of putting in the standards of choice, right? God's given us the free will to choose, and we do have the choice to treat people with kindness. We do have the choice to build up the relationship better. You do have a choice to change how you treat people. It is a choice. Some people might say, well, it's just inherently how I was born, and I just can't get along with people. And I was like, no, that's not true, though. All of us were born to make relationships. All of us were born to make friends. All of us were born to be in position of leaderships in some way. All of us were born to be great. But it's up to you whether you're ultimately going to be there for people and to lead people, to understand them and to motivate them, and ultimately just build relationships with people as well, right? Build those connections, make friends, do those kind of things. Having friends, good friends at least, don't make the wrong friends, will always help you to influence others greater. So yeah, that's the second half of that chapter. uh, I think it was pretty cool with the whole thing that we were doing here, talking about what others need and just the human relations. And I wanted to go back to that last week in the first part. I just want to this little thing that he mentions, all the short course in like human relations. I wanted to reiterate those words. He talks about the least important word and stuff, just so people kind of get that. But he talks about earlier in this chapter, the least important word was I, right? We weren't trying to be selfish. I, me, my, that kind of thing. The most important word was we. Talking about that us relationship, which is what we're talking about here as well in the second half of this chapter. When we talk about that everyone wants to be someone and helping them be someone, we is important. The two most important words he says is thank you. The three most important words is all is forgiven. The four most important was what is your opinion. The five most important words was you did a good job. And the six most important words is I want to understand you better. So this whole chapter is just literally all about what we need to know about when it comes to building that relationship with others, how to be there for someone, how to tell someone there's somebody, and encourage, all that stuff. But next week we're going to be in chapter 3, and we're going to talk about how can I encourage others, which is really good too. And if you don't have this book yet, it's kind of one of his older books, but it's still really powerful. And you'll see in the title, The 4 Pillars of Leadership. But I encourage you to get this book if you want to be able to follow along as well every Sunday until we finish this. Or if you just want to just listen without having the book, that's totally fine as well. You don't really need it, but it's still a good book to study yourself and to learn yourself as well. But yeah, I just want to go ahead and end it there. So Lord, thank you for everyone that's watching, for everyone that's here. I just want to pray as we continue to further ourselves in this book, to understand and establish different things that we're learning. I just want to be able to encourage everyone to love on people, to choose to be there for them, to choose to tell them about Jesus, to choose to be a good example. I just want to encourage you to, if you have relations that you're not really sure on or you're just struggling in some things, I just want to encourage you to build up on that, learn to understand each other, choose to communicate, and choose to listen to each other. So that's what I pray as we build our relationships further and further, as we're learning how to be better leaders, that we also learn how to build our connections stronger and stronger with you, God,